1,000 years, we've kept it hidden. The secret history of Transformers. Here, on Earth.
I definitely was wondering how on earth the world of Camelot and the Knights of the Round Table were going to fit into the Transformers universe. From what I know, it's a pretty cool story.
To save our future, we must unlock the past.
In our opening scene, you're in medieval England.
We go back to 482 AD with King Arthur.
When I was told I'd be playing like a Saxon, I just kind of put two and two together. I thought, Prime goes back, things aren't right, goes back, realises he's gone back to the wrong place, someone's found something, and then the world blows up Michael Bay style.
And now the greatest mission of them all, to turn the tide of human history.
Every time we've done a new Transformers, we really have to ask ourselves if we have enough ground to cover, if we're all still interested, if the mythology will open up further. And Michael actually was the one who said we should get a bunch of writers together, we should educate them on where we've been in the franchise, and see what areas they might be interested in exploring further in the mythology.
In our movie, Operation Skyfire, we're gonna try to answer one of the great mysteries of World War II.
The writer's room was a room at Paramount on the back lot. It was a bunch of writers, about 12 of us. And it began with Hasbro coming in and kind of taking us to Transformers school to try to get us up to speed with all the things that have happened. Then after that, we sort of laid out a timeline and found different places to do different movies throughout history. So every writer took a movie and wrote up a treatment for it. And we got to make really cool artwork for it and pitched it to Michael and pitched it to Steven Spielberg, which was really fun.
Ours is a coming-of-age story set in World War II. And as we've all kind of been talking about, one of the coolest things we think about the franchise is how Transformers intersect with real human history.
There were two writer groups who sort of touched on interesting areas. One was Art and Matt, and the other was Ken.
Mine is called Transformers Knights. It's set during the Dark Ages. It mashes up the fictional stories of Arthurian legend, actual English history, and the life of Merlin the Magician before he met King Arthur, and of course, transforming beings from Cybertron.
Right, okay, good.
I got a call that said, would you want to write Transformers 5 with Matt Holloway and Art Markham? And I said yes.
Ken was working on a pure Arthurian legend tale, but with Transformers in it. And then ours was something that took place in World War II. So one of the things that we're doing in Transformers 5 in the last night is peeling back the curtain on the secret history of the Transformers on Earth, and that they've always been here. For example, we see a flash of Bumblebee's last mission in World War II, where he was in a battle with Nazis. So in this movie, there are logical explanations for the greatest myths and legends of Earth's history.
This hall, which is at Bamborough Castle, is the sum total of the knowledge of the Transformers on Earth. We made over 50 images that have Transformers as a part of history. I had the idea that this was a genealogy that had to be traced, but I needed it to come from Merlin.
This is 40 generations.
It's 40 generations.
Yeah. Okay.
And Michael, I think, was a bit gobsmacked probably when he saw how much we did.
You see, this is crazy. How detailed this is? This is like a madman who's got way too much time on his hands to develop something like this.
I don't have that much time, though.
And if you take the lore of what happened with Merlin, there's the story of Viviana, who is sent to seduce him and to learn all of his magic and all his knowledge. And that's the story that I did for the children, that they had two illegitimate children, and from those came the whole Wiccan family.
Are you Samuel James Witwicky, descendant of Archibald Witwicky?
When you think about the first movie, Sam Witwicky, Shia's character, his great-grandfather was an explorer who had found Megatron, etc. We realized that the Witwickies were integral to this larger thing. So our mythology is merging more and more with the larger mythologies.
I really like the Knights, and I like what they represent. We will see Arthur, we'll see Merlin, we'll see the Saxons, which are all pretty extraordinary looking.
From a design standpoint, they were interesting in that they needed to look ancient, but they still needed to look like Transformers. They needed to look a bit like they had armor, as if their armor inspired actual English armor.
We fight for the human race, for all that is good in mankind. No sacrifice, no victory!
No sacrifice, no victory!
For this movie, Michael has found an interesting way to introduce some of the origin of the story, but also introduce and create new characters. I have an interesting bloodline. I am the last living relative of King Arthur.
Cade was going to be this last knight, this chosen person. How do you show that? What's a cool way to show that? Well, we have this idea that he'd have this talisman that looks like something that would be at home on an Arthurian knight's, crest. And that's exactly what it is, because that's ultimately what we learn in this movie. That's how the knights got their armor to begin with. It's all Cybertronian.
So this is our talisman that Cade recovers from the crashed ship in the destroyed city. It's based on the cross of St. James, and again, a design by Jeffrey Beecroft, our production designer. And this talisman turns into Excalibur, our Cade version of Excalibur. Again, the design of the talisman is found throughout.
And rolling, and action. Yeah!
Priscilla John put an array of fantastic English actors on tape for us, and each one of them had a great take on the character. And Michael and I went to London, and we saw all of them in person and, chose the group that would be together.
I was approached by the casting department in the UK, Priscilla John, and they said, do you want to come in and have a read? So I did. Thought the audition was one of the worst that I'd ever done. Thought I'm never, ever going to hear from that again. And bearing in mind that I've just played King Arthur in another production, I thought, once those two things come together, it's like, this is never going to happen. And lo and behold, about 4 weeks later, got a call, went in, met with Michael, and we went in groups of 3, Arthur, Lancelot, and Percival. Played out the first couple of scenes of the movie. And, yeah, I got the job.
They have their name for it. We have ours.
Staff of Merlin.
Yes, bequeathed to him by an alien race.
My character is a direct descendant of Merlin. And Merlin is being played by Stanley Tucci, who has been in the previous movies. So that is a brilliant little Easter egg moment.
No! Look! I kept your secret, just as I promised. I told no one of your existence, no one!
With Merlin, it was all a secret for quite a long time. Found out about 6 weeks ago that it's Stanley Tucci, which is incredibly exciting because he's a wonderful, wonderful actor.
He crops up in everything, and yet it doesn't become about Stanley Tucci. You believe that character, and I think he's one of the finest character actors out there at the minute.
Good men died while we waited for you. Noble men.
All right then, Percy. You bring the dragon next time.
So Stanley Tucci, very big fan since Devil Wears Prada. I know it's kind of strange coming from a man dressed like a barbaric Saxon, but it's one of my favourite films. I think he plays a wonderful role in it as well, and it's very, very exciting working alongside him.
Oh, yes!
Once Michael said that Stanley Tucci was going to be Merlin, I couldn't think of anything else. I'm like, this is going to be perfect. The great thing about this Merlin is, I think everybody's thinking of the Merlin, this sagacious guy with the long beard. But immediately when Arthur says, no, Merlin will be here, Percival says, he's a drunk, he's a charlatan. And we cut to him, and that's exactly what he is.
3, 2, 1, and action.
Sozzled. Oh, well. King's going to have to wait. Now, or is never? Oh, come on!
Help you walk it.
Oh.
That's a nutcase.
He's a hilarious character that Stanley Tucci is just going to absolutely knock out of the park.
The battle sequence is one of the most complicated sequences that we undertook on the franchise, I would say, not just on this film. It was really exciting, actually, and a fun part of the movie for all of us.
It's an end of civilization, end of the world kind of fight. It's like this small group of knights led by Arthur up against this massive Saxon horde. That's basically, if they win, is going to destroy civilization as we know it. So it's one of those moments in history where everything could change depending on which way it goes.
There are no spells, there is no magic. We retreat, live to fight another. No! We fight! Without sacrifice, there can be no victory!
This incarnation of Arthur is battle-hardened, battle-ready, and it looks epic. All the knights, when you line them all up together, look absolutely amazing. It's an incredible job from the costume department.
Everything couldn't have looked better, I think. You know, Lisa Lovers has done an incredible job of getting us all to look as we look, and we're very lucky to work with Yolanda, you know, the head of makeup, and with Ed, who are both fantastic. The jobs they do at, you know, originating these looks for us.
Second wave!
This is film costume, and it's still heavy. Then you think, well, hold on. Back then, this must have been real. Must have been about 60 kilos worth of weight. If you fall on your back, that's it. You're done. That's you. That's the end of your battle, your war. Finished.
You can't get up?
No, you can't get up, no.
The original designs, Michael had come to me to draw some of the knights' costumes. And so we did. And we did it in collaboration with Lisa, and then she took it from there. But I brought in Richard Anderson, and we created this whole army, both Saxons and the knights.
Just incredible, like the sheer size of it. Some of my favorite films have been shot here. So to be here and then to see it, just the incredible hard work and the detail that's gone into it, and then realize how many people are about to land on it today. It's just incredible, just amazing.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think there's still a load more guys to be coming down. That's hundreds of extras and stuff, and yeah, so it should be a lot of crash, bang, wallop, and, you know.
As he's coming in, boom, 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 boom. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Originally, we were having 100 guys on horses, and we were going to digitally put the rest in. But when it got closer to the shoot, Jeffrey was showing Michael all the overheads of Bournewood, where they shot Gladiator, and Michael saw the scope and says, have 200 more guys, 300 more guys. And by the end of the day, we got 400 guys on horses.
There's a bit of a debate about how many people are on set today. I think it's 1,000 in total, that's what I heard. So it's the biggest day on set that I've ever done, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, there was, I think, 65 horses. I think we had over 40 stuffed horses, and there were 600 Saxons, and I think 100 knights. It was quite an undertaking to shoot that in 3 to 4 days.
They're way over there and way into a valley, okay?
Michael was reticent about doing this scene. It was quite large and got bigger and bigger as we went.
Great, let's shoot it.
The battlefield was created with me, with Roger Holden and Sebastian Schroeder, and Roger was able to kind of destroy this amazing landscape, and we were able to create this incredible playground to do this battle between the Saxons and the Britons.
We have sort of that valley of death that's like right here behind us, which is sort of the main narrow pit where they all die and then slaughter each other. We're in here for 3 weeks to dig it all up and bring in like stumps and trees and make sure that we get all the greens out. The whole scene is impressive anyway, but when I saw the scorched earth, we know what the scene is, and you think, oh my God, that's actually our scene. That's where we are going to be fighting. This is where this is going to happen. It's actually pretty impressive.
3, 2, 1, go! It was a huge production, and Michael really got some amazing footage in camera. So the biggest addition that visual effects did was where the dragon made out of the knights comes in and lays waste to the bad guy hordes that are trying to kill Arthur. It was a much different design because it's not based on a car. It's a wholly new creature that we designed for this one.
In terms of the choreography of the battle, you know, we have a great stunt coordinator, Mike Gunther.
Well, this is the battle sequence, and I had never been a part of something like this before. So this scene is the one that's the most overwhelming because you have so many people. They're coming in and they're colliding, you have horses falling, you have huge explosions. So you're trying to keep everyone safe.
There's not that many people that get to shoot medieval battles, so not only is it new for Michael, it was new for Jeffrey, our designer, and me and my whole team. So, you know, Mike and I were kind of kicking around the idea of what's it take to choreograph a major battle like this. So we brought Rob Inch in, who's worked on War Horse and World War Z and some of the Star Wars movies, and we felt he was a good complement to our team, you know, to help organize and choreograph horse falls, sword battles, archers, and all of that stuff. So he's done a great job working with Mike Gunther, you know, to pull that off.
They wanted to recreate a medieval battle like a King Arthur versus the Saxons, but a super gritty version that was properly edgy. So we were seeing people get on fire, we were seeing people getting fired at by trebuchets. They wanted a really cutting-edge battle sequence.
Here in the background, there's sort of explosions going off, and you can hear the sort of thunder of hooves as all the horses are kind of riding into battle. That's all the stunt guys.
So the horses stunts, we do work very closely with the stunt department, and we build it up slowly. We do just the hero portion of that fight and whatever's required, and then we build it up. And basically we layer. So we start with the bare elements. Once we make that secure, everyone's happy, we layer up a next element, which might be the people around him, and we sort of just keep building it up from fire, smoke. So the horses, he understands what's going on. He's never just thrown into the middle of it all.
Rolling!
It's a bunch of battle sequences. We take it in little pieces, so we do like little vignettes, and so we have like play 1, play 2, play 3, play 4, and we just, you know, when he wants something, we say, hey, we're running play 2 here. And that means, hey, we're gonna ratchet 3 guys and we're gonna light 4 guys on fire. Play 1 might be we're ratcheting 1 guy and no fire. Play 5 might be arrows, you know, they're going down. And I think, you know, Rob has come up with a great plan to be able to execute that with his guys.
Give me a little fighting right here. Come on, guys. 3, 2, 1, and go, guys, right in foreground.
They've explained some of the key points of the battlefield scene. I believe we've got a big wrecking ball with spikes that's going to come in and fire death.
Jeffrey Beecroft came up with this great idea of these giant balls that the trebuchet, a catapult, through. They're 6-foot diameter balls with looks like a ninja star made out of wood and then wrapped with rope and put tar on it and light on fire. And Terry Glass and the guys had 2 cranes 450 feet apart and hung this ball off it. And you'd light the ball at one end, wrap it with quarter cable, release it. So it's flying down the cable, very violent, hot flames coming, ripping right towards the whole scene. We had 2 guys flying in the air as the ball came right behind them, blowing up. Oh, it was wonderful.
There's a lot of oh my God moments on the set. The actors are involved in the set, and we're all part of a process, and we're all in it together, and I think that's fun.
It's very exciting to do a medieval battle. The costumes, the weaponry, the special effects, the explosions, you know, the trebuchet, fireballs was very complicated and took us a long time to get ready. Happily, it's gone very well, thankfully.
It was quite an experience, even for me and all the movies I worked on with Michael, to be there during that battle.
Burning fire, you're burning diesel, I mean, it's just explosions everywhere, debris, helicopter, color smoke, fire. That was a great way to finish the movie.
The battle worked really well, I must say.
The machinery that goes into creating a movie like this is astonishing. And so seeing all of that come together and all the sort of man hours and the blood, sweat and tears that have gone into the last sort of 3 or 4 months is, you know, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I'll do it for you. I'm here for you. Ready? All right, boys and girls, way to bring it home day and night. That's a wrap, baby.
are at the Packer plant in Detroit. We were here in 2010 on Transformers 3, where we played it as abandoned Chicago. We returned here because we needed a big, vast area with a collection of buildings to recreate an area of Chicago that was destroyed in the story of Transformers 3.
3, 2, 1, action!
There isn't any place quite like Detroit for urban archaeology. So for Michael, who's an organic filmmaker, he's inspired by what we put around him.
We had talked in the writer's room a lot about what would these places that had been the location of a giant robot battle look like, because we've just shown the robot fights. We've never shown the aftermath. We've never shown what the results have been for humanity. And who would actually go into a place like that and explore? No adult would be dumb enough to go into a former war zone or something that may still be a war zone and look around, but kids would. Kids are different, they're curious, and their curiosity is what sort of starts the engine of this movie.
One of the great locations was the Packard plant in Detroit. It's this incredibly photogenic, abandoned factory, really atmospheric set to be working in. I don't know how much dressing they did of that, but it just feels like it's pretty much, it is what it is.
The Packard plant is gorgeous alone, but what we ended up needing to do is bring it back slightly to a state that it would read as Chicago. So what we were trying to do is achieve a look where nobody knew what we brought in and what we didn't.
I've got 10 blocks at the Packard plant that I was able to add L trains to, running through it, as well as destruction of a huge amount of city.
We brought those trains from Chicago because they're only for the Chicago L tracks, so you can't transport them by track. Construction built the L tracks, and we added signage, and I worked with the CTA for several months to be able to use their trains, and we had to crane them in because they're about 60,000 pounds, and then we had to make them stand upright and look like they had fallen off the tracks, so we built structures to support the trains, and we built several facades on the buildings.
We built burnt facades. It should look like it's been abandoned for some time. This is a place where you felt like time had run out.
It's basically the spaceship that we climb up on, and then we fall, and then this is a gun, basically, and Isabella's like at the top of that train, and then she comes down and does some cool stuff. And saves us. 3, 2, 1, falling! Oh no, we're totally going to prison. My mom's gonna be so pissed. Hey, mira, puto!
We came in and we've placed the spaceship, which will become larger in CG, so that Michael had something for the actors to act around. We created the guns, and we also, he fell in love with this electrical pole, so we recreated that so that it was safe for the kids.
What the heck was that? I thought it was dead, but it's not dead. Oh, tell me.
It was a great playground.
That was good. Let's go one more time.
Our department did a great job. It really looked like an apocalyptic downtown that just kind of got destroyed. Makes a big difference. We got all these full interactive pieces on a real location. You can shoot through windows. You can be behind this train track. It's not just like little set piece and set extension. So I think that makes a huge difference, because even when you see the sequence, every background is real and it's authentic, and you can do real debris, real smoke, real explosion. I think that adds tremendous value.
1002.
1001, 1002.
Yeah. Feels great.
Packard plant was amazing. I just wish I could go back in time and see that building and that city when it was thriving. I love American history, and so I would love to have seen that, but it was pretty special being there.
Don't shoot!
Hi, we're on the set of Transformers 5 with Michael Bay out in the middle of nowhere.
I'll now introduce our SEAL unit that's here, prepping for the scene.
John Devine, SEAL Team 5.
Brian Price, SEAL Team 5.
Perry, SEAL Team 7.
Patrick Beischer, SEAL Team 3 and 7.
Team 7.
What's your name?
Raul Gutierrez.
Jeremiah Patrick, SEAL Team 3.
Armada Lake A3. Chris Murphy, Special Boat Team 12.
Sean, SDV Team 1, Hawaii.
Josh DeMille, Colonel in the U.S. Army, and I'd like to fight Decepticons.
And Harry Humphreys, the bullfrog in this unit, SEAL Team 2, one of the originals, and I'm so proud of these young guys, it's unbelievable.
Hey, Margaret! Our lead man, blah, 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 right here. Boom, he starts going.
We have a really great give and take with the military. Their generosity with us in time and taking us seriously in what we're trying to accomplish is fantastic.
I've been fortunate enough to work with the SEAL guys, and they're so professional, and they make it so real, they're so badass. You just gotta make sure that you can live up and be believable and convincing as one of those guys.
I play Colonel Lennox in the 5th installment of Transformers.
Be alert out there, Colonel, and come back safe.
I think the last time I was Lieutenant Colonel, and after Michael and the crew met with the DOD, they decided that the natural progression would have been Colonel.
I talked to my Army colleagues, and it's been fun for them to watch his progression through the ranks. We joke and say his career has progressed much faster than our own.
You target 3 o'clock high!
My name is Santiago Cabrera. I play Santos, who is a mercenary of sorts, a team leader of the TRF, the Transformer Reaction Force. The Transformer Reaction Force is a new entity that's been created since the last movie, out to catch all the Transformers and bring them down.
Cade Yeager, in the flesh. You got me.
Help yourself out here. Where are they? The ones you're hiding.
It's not really believable these giant robots are coming to Earth and the military's not involved.
These are 50 caliber modified to look like modern weapons that would kill Transformers. Use your imagination. Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, let's go rehearsal, here we go.
They're spilling out of the Osprey. Guys are picking up firing positions, and then they're gonna take the fight to the Decepticons.
Being a part of Transformers really makes me appreciate not only what our military men and women sacrifice, but the overall military strength really impresses me the most.
No gunfire.
Josh has done this for a while now. He's done 4 or 5 movies with us now, and he's done a fantastic job every time. And you can see he gets better and better and better as he does it. He actually looks like a real Army colonel.
Me and Josh started to train with the SEALs, and you need to have a minimal level of fitness and strength.
It's pretty grueling and it's physically challenging. So I got into as good a shape as I could before we started shooting this. And it wasn't just strength, but it was also cardio, it was flexibility, it was trying to stay as agile as I could because you never know from day to day what you're gonna be doing.
So you make sure you're strong, and it just helps with the character. You feel strong, you feel you're the part more.
They're gonna bring that whole thing down on top of us! We're not giving up on Prime. He's gonna be here.
The operation's over. All right, we stay, we're dead. Part of the fun was to see these actual Navy SEALs who have seen some pretty scary situations try to pretend like they were scared. They're like, no, we don't get scared, man. Michael's like, no, you gotta pretend like you're scared. They're like, that's your scared face? That's your scared face? All right, next.
3, 2, 1, action!
Boom. We're right here at Luke Air Force Base, outside of Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona.
And background, guys!
There's always logistical challenges when you're talking about bringing 500 people onto a military base for a shoot. But of course, Michael Bay and his team are vastly experienced here working with the military. Luke Air Force Base was an ideal location for this production because you were already shooting in Arizona. And also, we have a lot of different military assets that are already stationed there, plus several that we were able to bring in from other nearby locations.
We're gonna see some F-16s, F-35s, and God knows what else. It's a Michael Bay movie.
Okay, ready, guys?
It is rare to use the F-35. It is one of our crown jewels in the Air Force, but we're very supportive of the Transformers, and it was our pleasure to be part of this.
Pilots running to their planes, right on this line, please.
When we have new military technology, Michael seems to find a way to fit that into his movies all the time, and we love that, and we hope it's appreciated by the viewer as well.
Even though we knew we were coming up to support Transformers 5, which can be exciting, it's not something that we normally deal with in the military. So we just remind them that when working with the cast and any of the people that are filming, just to make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on around them and to do the professional job that they're used to doing.
Any questions?
Today, we're shooting at the USS Carl Vinson in San Diego, continuing our long tradition with the U.S. military, the Department of Defense, and in this case today, the U.S. Navy.
The Carl Vinson fits almost 3,000 people. Some people have deployed on these things, met someone 10 years later and found out that they did the exact same deployment and they've never seen that person before, so it's huge.
Action, everybody, action.
Control, Ace 1. We just spent the day on this monster of a ship. It's like a city over water. We went all over. We were on that platform at one point that went up to the deck. We were inside where all the radars are and where they do all the tracking.
As opposed to a set where you kind of get an idea of what our rooms on the ships would look like, you get actual equipment, actual personnel that are going to be standing there as extras.
Captain, SOSUSnet reported unidentified transformer in the water, submerging.
The sub must be heading towards open water, directly towards our strike group now.
Okay, we need to cut them off, stop them, use whatever asset we have.
Contact Zulu module, have all the subs converge on that choke point.
Aye, Captain.
Every scene that we've done with the Navy that would have been actors normally, naval personnel delivered the line and did the part. Michael likes it as real as possible. They really deliver the line. It sounds real, it sounds calm, it's how they've been trained.
I've been in the Navy 20+ years. I think it's pretty cool. Transformers gives us an opportunity to be able to show what we do and let us take America out to sea with us.
Aztec bridge, just put the bow into the sun.
Being around Navy SEALs and around everyone from the Air Force just makes it feel very real. And as an actor, you know, you want to feel comfortable and you want to have as much knowledge and grasp on the world that you're playing. And access to people that know what it's like was priceless.
We're going to find out what exactly is going on and then they'll give me a quick training session.
It was a real gift and it gives you a lot of confidence to know that you're doing it the right way.
Hey, drop the weapon. Do it! You know, there's some pretty epic battle scenes in this movie.
It's that good in place, but it's tearing us apart! Push right to the crater! Let's go!
Because of all the explosions and all the smoke bombs and everything going off and the real gunfire, you feel like you're at war. It's the closest that I'll probably ever feel to, you know, what it's actually like in battle. These guys have all done it, these SEALs and these former special ops guys. So for them to say that it's as close as they've been is probably true.
Well, it's a wrap, everybody. It's been a great show. Very excited. Had a blast shooting this movie. That's right.
This is about as much fun as you can have making movies.
This is my first day.
Roll, please!
I'm a newcomer. Is there anything I should know? We are in the middle of the desert and the junkyard. There's a whole section of abandoned and junked El Caminos.
Hello guys, it's me, Isabel Monaire. We've been here for about 2 weeks, and I've had a lot of fun.
Sensory overload, there's so much movement and so many moving pieces, and this is big.
Roll cameras!
Cade Yeager lives with these machines in a junkyard in the desert because, hey, a junkyard is a great place to camouflage Transformers, a car sort of graveyard.
From the air, everything just looks like an old piece of junk car, so it's a great place to hide if you're an Autobot.
That is an alien! That is an alien dinosaur!
I wanted to find a really vast junkyard and someplace within striking distance of Chicago. I started looking online and seeing what are the largest junkyards in America and what junkyards have classic cars. And we found this one in Phoenix, which was called Desert Valley Auto.
The junkyard, it was kind of a funny sight because it was an absolutely beautiful junkyard. It was kind of the most amazing junkyard you've ever really been in.
Just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars, ranging from the 60s, 70s, 50s, 80s, all decades were presented.
I mean, there were so many cars. I was like, kind of took me back to my teens. Because when I was a kid, we used to hang out in junkyards, and we'd go and, you know, break windows and rummage through cars and take the ball bearings out of the wheels and break more windows and stuff like that, and get chased by dogs and junkyard workers.
Hey! Hey, mister! We need to talk! We got Izzy and Gerard and Mark's story. We got Arizona, which was 100+ degrees every day, in the beating sun, no shade whatsoever, in the middle of a junkyard.
Cade is in a position at the start of this movie where he has helped Transformers.
You hear that, Pete? You're gonna talk.
And Isabella has separately developed a relationship with robots in that war zone in Chicago.
When you leave, it becomes the wild kingdom out here. I don't know what to do.
I told you, this is a junkyard. They blend it with other junk. That's it.
You hired me to be Senior Vice President of Worldwide Operations.
Did I tell you that?
Yes, that's what you said.
Oh, I made that shit up.
And Gerard is somebody who felt like that guy who signed on for something that wasn't quite what it seemed, who really sort of gets swept up in this and wants to be the hero.
So what do you think, Crosshairs?
Yeah, he's just dead.
And that's what brings them in together.
And then storyline-wise, we have this huge 50-foot trailer for Cade's home.
Jeffrey found this amazing Spartan trailer, which was the only character set for the movie, but it had great bones to work within.
Michael loved the trailer. He loved that Spartan trailer.
It was mainly a shell. Construction ended up cladding the walls, and then we brought in a sink, we brought in a fridge, we brought in a stove. But there was a moment that I had with Michael. Michael was like, you know, we really need to make this fun. And so he had a great idea of adding the neon to it. And then we turned the fridge to teal, and we added some red chairs in the kitchen, and like really brought it to life just by adding those 3 elements. Changed it completely.
You want to put the pedal to the metal, guys? Come on.
I've gotten the most exercise of my life on this set. Hey! I just found Optimus Prime! And just like some mornings, we just like wake up, you know, Michael's like, hey, you're gonna run from here, and then about half a mile down there, we're gonna, it's just like running around corners. I'm like, is there even a camera?
You out of your mind? I told everybody to stay still. You want to go out there, stop screaming and step gun? Who do you think you are?
Even in the audition room, Michael had asked me if I was a good runner, and I was like, I think so. I mean, I did cross country for a bit. He's like, good. So I knew that we'd be running a lot.
Good.
I don't think I warned Gerard about all the physical things that he might have to do.
Oh!
Isabella, I said, you're gonna have to get into shape and really, you know, be ready to run, jump, this and that. But I never said that to Gerard. I let it be a surprise for him.
It's like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade out here, Jimmy J.
I'm supposed to handle that? You didn't put that in the ad, Cade. There's nowhere in the ad. My character, Jimmy, is mostly afraid and mostly running and mostly trying to figure things out as he goes. You know, Cade, I'm feeling really accused right now. He's kind of like me on this set. I found inspiration within.
Oh! Get up.
Okay, guys, 3 cars coming down the road fast.
We're really excited. We are taking a Michael Bay set to England.
3, 2, 1, action!
It's bigger stunts, huge chase scenes, more fun, craziness.
Wow. Good. Great shot, guys. Great shot.
Where are we? What's that?
Here we are in London. We do a car chase, Transformers action. Sir Anthony Hopkins is being chased by some bad guys.
It's just people diving out of the way. So you're kind of like, you're giving me some move, you know, out the way. Okay. Ready, guys? Everyone ready? Rolling. All right, ready? At 3, 2, 1, and action, guys.
We've got the McLaren working right now, so that's being pursued by the TRF and the MI6 and the police.
We
been trying to utilize these cool streets of London and really show that we're here. I'm doing chases in locations that are really hard to get and close down.
We got a lot of streets, you know? We look, alleys everywhere, great looking stuff.
Really challenging with the helicopters and insert cars and cranes and, you know, with locations that you can only close down for 2 minutes. We have like 5 cameras going and 10 stunt cars, and it's pretty crazy.
It's pretty much my first time actually walking around the UK and like getting the full experience. Went to London Tower. We got scenes which are in Oxford and just these beautiful castles.
3, 2, 1, and action, guys. Walking. Don't go yet.
Given the mythology, you had to go to England. How are you going to do Arthur and Merlin without going to England? 1, it gives it a great sense of reality, and 2, it gives a variety of feeling to the movie that makes it feel very different than the previous movies. It allowed a whole different group of ideas to come into play.
We are at Rievaulx Abbey outside of York. The history of this abbey is that it was built in, I think, 1129, and was torn down by Henry VIII. I showed the pictures to Michael, and he fell in love with it, and no one's ever shot here before.
Do you want it quite formal, or do you want it kind of informal?
I think a little formality, you know what I'm saying? And I think at one point you all stand up and kind of make a toast to all of them, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you're gonna carry this.
Carry it.
This place has something unique to offer. It has a romantic quality, and our knights embody courage and valor, and I think that that's what Michael sees in this place. It's incredibly romantic and beautiful.
You're gonna sit right here. You're gonna sit right over here. You're gonna sit right over here. Just trying to break the looks apart. Let me have you come over here. Come over here. Let me get you right here. All right, here we go. Ready? Yeah.
To brothers old and brothers new. To brothers old and brothers new.
You guys are going to be back in the shot.
While they're going to get here.
You want to try to get here before the cheer, okay, Jacques? Great idea.
All right, guys, we're going to start seeing all the way around the world, so we're going to have to hide and we're not doing this job of it now.
Here we go.
Lock it up!
Ready? 3, 2, 1, and dolly. And action.
Men, tonight we drink to brothers old and brothers new. To brothers old and brothers new.
And when they lift the sword, we're all going to cheer. 3, 2, 1, dolly. 3, 2, 1, and action. Do you want to go to a tighter lens right here? Or do you want to do this? You want to be right here? Okay.
We fight for the human race, for all that is good in mankind. No sacrifice, no victory.
Repeat it after he says it, okay?
No sacrifice, no victory.
Excellent. Good. Cut. All right. Cut.
Michael wanted to make something special, and not very many people will go that extra mile to shoot something like this.
Spinning it a little bit, Jacques. Spinning it. Spinning it. There you go.
It embraces the idea of the knights and the Transformers here as you walk through the Abbey.
We're shooting in castles, lots of places. As soon as you go into a period property, you need a conservator. You need this person, that person.
No. Don't ever screw with the brigade, Miss Wembley. That's the watch that killed Hitler.
When we filmed at Alnwick Castle, I think we had 2 conservators and we had 5 people watching the crew. Just to make sure no damage takes place, because if we damage something, you can't replace it. So there's a lot of proving to these locations that we can come in and behave, and we did, everyone. Alnwick Castle played part of Feldgun Castle, which was where Burton lives. So we went to Alnwick Castle, and we also mixed that with Bamburgh Castle, Sion House, and we used St. Bart's Church. And what Alnwick Castle gave us is Alnwick Castle gave us the interior grand rooms of Castle Flogan.
Cool. So this is your house. We've filmed in a couple of these, and this is definitely like the warmest and the coziest. It actually feels like a home.
It's, yeah, well, we try and keep it home.
Yeah, it's lovely.
He was a total Transformer fan growing up. As a kid, yeah. I had Optimus Prime as a kid, a little toy that converted, yeah.
Me too.
And Bumblebee. I must admit, I was disappointed that it wasn't in the movie, the first movie, when it wasn't the VW Beetle. Blame Michael for that.
I know, it's true. It's true.
Hey guys, anybody that might want to leave the room, let's do that. Let's get ready for a picture, please.
Ready? And here we go. Rolling. Action.
Does he have to loom like that?
Bonjour, chérie, je m'appelle Hot Rod.
Hot what?
Hot Rod.
Hot what?
Hot Rod. It's his French accent.
Is he French?
No, he just likes the accent.
Good cut.
How was it?
Good? Thank you.
You're ripping off well.
We can move out of here. Thank you, guys.
It's fantastic. Castles, palaces, London car chases. How about a place like this? Blenheim Palace, birthplace of Churchill. Shooting a polo match in front of it. It's awesome.
Boys and girls, we have a lovely split team. We have lovely Cambridge and Oxford University playing against each other. So hopefully the rivalry doesn't come out too much.
How many of you ever been in a movie before? None. Good. Let's have some fun today.
So Oxford University, we've brought with us 5 people, 4 players and 1 as an umpire. We've also got the team here from Cambridge, the other place.
Those 2 teams have the oldest standing polo match in the world, which is the Varsity Polo match, currently played at Guards, which goes back to 1873.
Hopefully we'll be showing them who's the better university.
Are you guys like big rivals?
We're all super pumped. It's not every day you get to shoot at Blenheim Palace and for a major Hollywood movie.
Too wide, it looks like a lot of you, but stagger yourselves. And you're just going to go straight.
We're getting pieces of all this.
Yeah, so you're getting pieces of the horse's head, the legs and stuff.
It's not our faces or anything.
Sometimes, yes it is.
No, really,
oh, yes.
Take my glasses.
Oh, look at that. Oh. Oh, can you not play with your glasses?
I don't see where you guys are.
You can put a ball, let's put a ball up here. Yeah, put it right there. Good. We're going to have someone go for that ball. You want to go for that ball?
Okay. Okay, you go for the ball and you look like you're going to hook.
Yeah.
But don't obviously hook him, let him hit it. Okay. Hit the ball that way.
Do it that way. Hit it at us. Hit it at us. It's not that hard, is it?
Yeah.
It is? Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Ooh, it's hard. Hit it, and then someone gets to go home. Come on. Yeah.
Ball went sailing.
That would have hurt. That would have hurt, okay?
I have to either say take the man.
Take the man.
Or who's behind me.
Who's behind me?
You like
That's
who's
good. I
got
like
me
who's
covered.
behind me. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Who's behind me is good.
Who's behind me? You yell it how loud? When you yell, when you say it, how do you do it?
Who's behind me?
Like that.
Yeah, because you can barely hear people.
Yeah, I'm from New York.
Go easy on me, guys.
Yeah, fine. All you need to do is just get running, all right?
Okay.
Stay in the lead of the pack, and we'll make you look good with the camera.
Okay.
Lads, roll please, rolling.
3, 2, 1, and action! All right. Good, great shot, great shot. It says in the script that she gets bumped and she rolls after she's hit something. Is that possible?
Yep.
Is that stupid?
No, it's not
A bunch of American writers wrote it, or they're not polo players either. That would be nice, because I want her down kind of a little bit muddy. The actor kind of gives her a tough time. Down on the ground. All right. She's gonna come up like this, taking the helmet off. And 3, 2, 1, action. Score. Yes! Good.
Wembley, I was quite open.
Yeah, there's a reason why you're always open.
The reason you're always single.
What?
What?
That was amazing.
Are you a horsewoman?
Horsewoman, half horse.
No, are you good? Do you spend much time on horses?
I don't spend a lot of time on horses. I have ridden, but that was pretty cool. I think I might have to take that up as a little side hobby.
You weren't scared amongst all the many horses?
I thought I was going to be, but then it actually felt safer when I was with them and we were all coming down. But it's lovely to ride on your own, but it's lovely to ride in a pack like that. Yeah, I want to do it again.
Pieces of the movie take place in medieval times, and so, you know, we're here for the castles, we're here for the palaces. Those places are sacred ground, and it's just been great. I mean, today we're at Stonehenge, you know, it doesn't get any better than that. We even brought a Stonehenge with us. From Hollywood, people are not happy unless it's fake.
The art department built a beautiful replica for the explosions, because the real Stonehenge is a national monument. You can't have bombs going off there.
All right, we're gonna go for the spark. So you ready? Looks good, huh?
I don't think they would have been really happy with the crew of Transformers blowing up the real Stonehenge.
Well done. Great, isn't it?
I need Harry Humphreys, so they emerge from the trees. Okay,
hey, Liam, I hope those guys are weaponed up, right?
I'm working with British military. You're going to be in a flanking movement. You can stagger a little bit, but do not get in front of the muzzle that's next to you.
Demeanor and tactics in the field are very similar to what we do in the U.S. military, so it's always a pleasure to work with them.
Maintain that formation in the run, and the running direction, as we said, is going to be towards those trees over there.
Okay. Spread a little wider out that way, Harry. A little more of a curve.
Even from the first time we went to Stonehenge, Michael wanted to shoot there. We were very nervous. We scouted it. There was a million restrictions in place, but it was amazing that we got in and got the access we did, and that was through a lot of hard work.
What a place, isn't it? Amazing.
You know, you're going home and you're telling family members and friends what you're doing and where you are. And they're just kind of looking at you like, well, that's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Michael Bay said to the Guardians of Stonehenge that they're going to be in his movie and it's going to put Stonehenge on the map. I'm sure that was said with a twinkle in the eye, because I think Stonehenge has been on the map for about 4,000 years, but certainly it'll go big with the Druids, that one.
I'm always asking people, like, how do you think the actual Stonehenge got there? Everyone's like, Transformers, for sure. The aliens brought that.
See these things? There's a ship. These things are above you, and they're going to fuse together.
Right. One's
right
on
there.
the right, one's on the left.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you see that, guys? And over here, all of a sudden this thing starts rolling.
7! He's gonna crush us. Get that ship clear of the crush zone now! Get to the Ospreys!
Oh my God, it's huge. It's slowly coming at you. It makes sense?
I know that we are sandwiched between Stonehenge and a Stonehenge that was built, and that's all that I know.
Optimus is behind you. You're looking like he's that way when you're running, all right? So you're in front of him, but give him a wider berth, okay?
Action! Hey! I just found Optimus Prime! He's gonna save our asses!
Let's put Optimus out this time. They're looking different.
Should we go run with a guy running?
Let's have, yeah.
No, you can't. Just get a runner. Want to go run? You go 30 feet back. You be Optimus, okay? Take your belt and take your gear off.
Belt, Joe.
Take your gear off. Don't have your pants fall down.
Thanks, man. It's next to it. Oh, they're falling down. Pants are coming down.
All right, this is going to be Optimus Prime. He's a little smaller, a little less heroic, but...
There are sheep, and there are fields, and a lot of double rainbows.
I bring the rainbow. I paid for that extra today. I'm going to Instagram that shit.
He's only shot this rainbow.
Hey, get out of my rainbow, dude. Look at that. It's a rainbow. Look at that. It's a double. That's a double.
It's a double rainbow.
That's good, man. That's good. It is a how did we get here? It's a very beautiful thing, and it's, I mean, I could never find my way back home. Like, it's over. Imagine saying that to the police. 'Cause I'm near a double rainbow and sheep, and they're like, all right, relax. And then we built Stonehenge, and then we blew it up, and it's like, all right, okay. It really is amazing. It's so beautiful, and it's the definition of picturesque.
Are you getting that sun, that crisp cloud stuff? 1 second, Tony. Give me, what's in the lens right now? What's on?
80 mil.
80 mil. Shoot out right now with that sky, right now. Right there.
75.
Right in the grass.
75.
We're rolling on clouds. Got a lot of clouds in this movie.
Looking up, getting up. 3, 2, 1, action!
Go!
Good, cut. Very nice, everybody. Cutting. Yeah. All right, ready, Jay? Quiet, we're rolling.
The big climax is at Stonehenge with all sorts of huge machines that come in and blow all sorts of people up, including Anthony Hopkins.
He is the last night, my lord. I swear it.
Stonehenge is a place that I've always wanted to go see, and I got to go not only see it, but I got to go inside Stonehenge.
Will you take one with me?
Yeah, sure. That was a pretty powerful experience because we were allowed near the stones. What a bloody gang.
Everybody give me a camera.
National Heritage, thank you so much. Thank you.
Stonehenge has always been sort of a fascination. How were they ever able to erect these giant stones without any major machinery? Obviously, the answer is alien robots. So, not only are we making, these great popcorn movies, but we're also answering a lot of historical questions.
Okay, cut. All right.
We were looking for the history of the UK, so, what's the real British things that we could bring to this movie? We shot at Oxford Divinity School, which is part of the Bodleian Library, the Natural History Museum in Oxford, Oxford Streets, and many of the other colleges.
For the streets, we put on our own bicycles so that they could all get crashed into by Vivian.
I think you're gonna walk by that bike, and you're gonna try to pick it up, and you're just like, oh, I got so much shit in the leg. Okay?
Yeah.
Action.
It's a beautiful place. It's all the history and that was lovely to work at Oxford.
Action, everybody. Looking at the building. All right, can we get it? Yes. That's yeah? All right, kids, you were great. Thank you. Thank you. All right, kids, gotta get out of here. Now.
Come in the dance.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you.
What's your name? And where else? We went to Oxford. Now we're in this church, St. Bartholomew's, pure Norman and built 900 years ago.
I think it's one of the oldest churches in England. You walk in and there's an Arthurian table done up Transformers style. It's wonderful.
And this place was built around the original Round Table. Percival, Gawain, Tristan, Lancelot, they sat right here.
Good. You're standing right here. Jake can come right in here, grab me a cool, and then all of a sudden, okay?
Yeah.
That's when first time you start believing that what's going on.
Okay, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Now, Laura, just get your hand there. See.
They have their name for it. We have ours.
Staff of Merlin.
Take a picture. Look at my camera. There you go. Say hello.
We've gone to the oldest church in the city, and we've taken over Downing Street.
It's one of the most famous doors in the world. This is actually the real deal.
How do you do that?
We made a call. That was it. It was as simple as that. We got the brief to go and find a double for 10 Downing Street. We went to the normal places, and I said to one of my guys, just phone 10 Downing Street. And we phoned Film London. They gave us a contact, and one of our location managers was persistent, and he got through the door, and we shot at 10 Downing Street, the first people ever.
It's basically like standing at the front door of the White House. I think this is a better looking place than black.
Where's our actor? Coming over with Amy right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thanks for your help, too.
Do you guys want to be in it?
Yeah.
Will you? Yeah. You serious? Because you guys at least give us authenticity. Yeah? And if you're here, and then that makes it more real. You know what I'm saying? You want to be it? You're not going to smile, right?
Always smile.
Just one. Michael, as I've snuck in here, bold as brass, could I say to the policeman, good morning? And they don't know what the hell I am, but does his authority. If you will cover that later. All right. So I'd say good morning to them, and I think it's good afternoon. Oh, good afternoon. Just say Ian. Would that be easier? Cut around that. So I do.
We have it in the movie. It's pretty funny.
Because I say when we see the Prime Minister, I thought you were a woman. So I'm going to say, So I said, is the Prime Minister in?
Who?
The Prime Minister, who else? Is he in? It's very important.
Oh, it's very important, is it? Why didn't you say so?
Okay, thank you. I'll use the old entrance.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
You do that.
And then it's like, what if you just, as you leave, how'd you get in here? Yeah.
How did you get in here?
You know, the access we got to London was outstanding. We also managed to close the Mall and crash a car into Admiralty Arch.
The Queen, she's there in residence because the flag is flying.
All right, guys, pictures up.
There he is. Okay, guys, 3 cars coming down the road fast. Then the police cars will U-turn. Clear the road. Stay clear.
I hope we're not pissing off the Queen. She's home, and I'm running a car at 100 miles an hour in front of her house. Now, I'm not English, but I don't know if that's proper. I mean, my grandmother would not like it.
What we intend to do today is pull one of the Lexuses sideways, and at a certain given cue, we'll spin the car 360 degrees. Halfway through that, it will smash into the columns itself. That's not realised. That's actually dressing the bottom of those concrete, or 18-ton concrete blocks that are dressed round, which protects the arch. The thing I would worry about most is actually damaging any type of national building. So we have tested and tested and tested to its full extent, and this is a proven way it will hit that and we won't damage it at all.
Where do you think you're going to do it? Where do you think you're going to do it?
I'll slide it tighter 90, and I'll plan on ending up right around where we're standing right here.
Yeah? Okay, hang on, Crane. He's shooting, he shot a missile out of his mouth and blew the tire. The car went into full skid.
When it takes off, I'm going to follow it. I know my mark where it's going to flip, and I'm going to get on the accelerator.
right for the flip.
Okay, so who's going to hit Corey?
No one's Corey.
No one's hitting Corey.
No.
Wait, no, come on, we want to hit Corey.
No, raise your hands.
Who's getting Corey? I
They're
want to hit him.
They're going to hit each other and just make a mess
Where did I
behind
lose you?
What?
When did you turn on me?
No, I turned today. Today was the day. It ended all today. Okay, the honeymoon is over.
And guys, anybody that's around any of the glass up above, let's be super safe. Anybody that's in the archway, it's going to be loud.
How long from the time the event starts till it stops?
4 or 5 seconds, if that.
Okay, any other questions?
Now I'm starting to feel the pressure. Hey, Igor!
You come in and slow this down, sir.
Clear, please. Going high.
Yeah, good, okay. All right, now give me the other cars behind, all right? Give me the other cars right now on this side, all right?
Got cars backing up. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for your hospitality.
We had such an amazing time shooting Transformers 5 here.
I've been able to see things that I've dreamt my whole life about seeing, and it's been fantastic.
Thank you, London. Thank you, England. It's been a wonderful return journey, and I hope I come back again soon.
You've hosted us well, and I'm proud to say that I am from this country and live in such an awesome city.
Queen was nice to let me do that in her driveway, I gotta tell you.
I think it's amazing the world that Michael has created, and he continues to make them bigger and better.
Making it unique brings people back, but the essence of these movies are the characters. So to keep people excited, we've constantly added new characters.
This film is really like the best toy chest you could ever open. What do you want? It's all there.
Did you forget who I am?
Western Star, we approached again. We brought back the Transformers 4 Optimus Primes, and they did a little bit of a retrofit, just shrunk the hood down a little bit, kind of kept everything the same. Fresher paint job, kind of freshened up the trucks.
Some of the attributes of Optimus that we added in the last film is that he can fly, which he had never done before. So he has jetpacks within his legs, and he also has a sword that is kind of like an Excalibur type sword, and we are making him more like a knight.
We spent a lot more time on Optimus. There always are slight design changes that we want to get in there, but then we also try and figure out ways to optimize them. One of the big things that we had on this one, that there's a great sequence that's on top of a cross ship where the knights have surrounded Optimus and kind of have him at a disadvantage. And we had, on this one, developed self-reflections. So Optimus is reflecting on some of his own surfaces, and that was sort of a new look for us, and something that we were really proud of.
Like anyone in the entire world, I was starstruck to see Bumblebee, the Transformer head, and also the car.
A GM Camaro, a yellow Camaro, can evoke so much. I think it's everything that goes along with it, though. I mean, Bumblebee, who he is, what he stands for, so they know the car is a piece of him.
Bumblebee had one of the biggest updates. We went in and we rebuilt a bunch of Bumblebee.
In this movie, we get to deal with Bumblebee with a new power. That's a big difference in this movie, is that Bumblebee had this mag tech that we have shown a few times in the movie, but we need to make sure that there's a physicality to it. When his limbs fall off, I don't just want them to bloop, 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 come back up into place. They have to work to get themselves back to where Bumblebee is.
There was one new character that we were really excited about, which was Hot Rod, which we had a lot of fun with.
He's a Citron that belonged to Viviana's father.
As soon as she realizes who he is, he doesn't have to be in disguise anymore. He doesn't have to be that 20-year-old beat-up Citron anymore. So they're driving down the street and he sees a Lamborghini and he scans the Lamborghini.
Wow, I love this car!
And he gets to be that. And he's a little bit vain.
Designing Hot Rod's face, we were looking for, what's the distinctive thing going to be for Hot Rod? And we grabbed a team of 5 or 6 artists, and over the course of 3 days, 100 face sketches each. And we had hundreds and hundreds of just these little studies for faces. I mean, we just laid them all out. In the same way that Bumblebee's face is distinct, you want a face for Hot Rod that is distinct and you recognize it.
Get out of here! My weapon will stop the time!
Hot Rod has this cool weapon where if you fire it at someone, it envelops them in a time bubble, where time inside that bubble goes really slow, but time on the outside is in real time.
He was fun in that for the first time in a long time, we were trying to build a robot that needed to hold up and have as much personality as Bumblebee.
My Michael and I were looking at the Dakar rallies, and they use Unimox quite heavily in those. And we wanted to try and use that car because we wanted to get real speed out of Hound. Also, Hound is a medic because he's working with Cade trying to fix the robots. And we wanted to give him some other kinds of looks. And he's the big palooka with a heart of gold.
Stop the time!
There's a gag in this movie where Hot Rod used his time gun, stopped time around a couple of bad guys, which allowed Hound to use his minigun and just litter the bubble with bullets so that when the bubble goes away in real time, Decepticons are just destroyed by these bullets.
The reason I liked making him a medic is because we had him rescuing characters. And I felt like that was a good way to show him and make him a little bit different than what he was before. I think he's just a great character and everybody really likes him.
Oh yeah, big time. I should not have eaten all that Tijuana street machinery.
In the last film, we had Hound, Crosshairs, and Drift, which are all really terrific guys. Michael really stressed the character development in them, and we saw the action that they could do, and so we wanted them to come back.
We kind of gave Crosshairs a new facelift, so to say. A little bit of new design, new pattern for him. Some upgrades on some vents and a little bit of hood. The car itself is the same vehicle that we had from Transformers 4, same Crosshairs. We just kind of gave him a little bit of a makeover.
Again, with our partner GM, they wanted to do a revised Corvette, and so he's a little sleeker. GM has done some specialty work to him for us that's made him something special.
Listen up, Little Miss Sunshine, I'm in charge now. Just don't expect any bedtime stories.
All the characters from the last one, Michael liked them all. With Drift, it's all been kind of an ongoing process from 4 to 5.
Drift was also a major redo on his face especially. His colors obviously changed from the last movie to this one because of his vehicle change.
Drift was the opportunity to bring in the world of the samurai and their knights. And also Drift has some Chinese attributes as well, the way he fights. He was a Bugatti in the last show, and this one there's a brand new generation of a Mercedes that Michael really liked.
From Mercedes, we have the GTR as our character Drift.
He trans-scans the AMG and becomes that. Drift is incredibly powerful, incredibly fast, and has the soul of the samurai.
No hate, no anger. Get off, you maggot!
Oh my God! A leprechaun! Who the hell are you?
Leprechauns are tiny, green, and Irish, and that is offensive.
Cogman is a character that we took to Michael, and I said, look, I know there's nothing like this, but he could be a real interesting robot. And Michael saw it, and he goes, I love this guy.
Sir Edmund Burton, the Anthony Hopkins character, has a butler, but it's not a human butler. It's this 4-foot-tall robot called Cogman.
Cogman is a perfectly respectable Victorian butler, apart from the fact that he's 4 foot 2 inches tall and a sociopath. And his greatest delight in the world is strangling people, beating them up.
I just have so much road rage!
Actualize the rage, that's it!
Cogman is one of our coolest characters that we've done. The design for him was very, very intricate. He was 100% metal. So he had little lights inside the neck and the sternum and the shoulders and the tummy to show all the inner workings. And he was supposed to look like a really finely made watch.
Michael Bay loves the texture and the dirtiness of the real world. So for Cogman, we were photographing armor and mechanics and clock innards.
Cogman's a great character. Let's hope he comes back time and time again. Move, bitch, get out of my way! Move, bitch, get out of my way!
One of the fun things about this film is that there are some characters that are unlike characters we've done in previous films. Squeaks is one of them, because it's a robot that's at human scale and interacts with humans.
Hey, stop throwing a hissy fit.
Squeaks is adorable. He's probably the cutest Transformer I've ever seen.
Michael wanted the character that would be fun to watch, and so I took that and started playing around with that as a robot.
They built a practical version of this robot, which is also something we haven't really done before. They built a full-size Squeaks based off of our CG model.
We've made 3 Squeaks that can move around. He can drive through things, and his arms move.
We had an actual thing made, and it was pretty cool, and like, Jeff, who controls him and like makes his head move and his arms turn, like, we're buds now.
We then came back around and made a computer model that matched exactly this physical prop. And we would take over when the Squeaks puppet couldn't perform things required of it, or even just replacing some mechanics in its head to move and makes its eye express.
He's a full-fledged member of our cast, so we treat him as such, has his own chair and everything.
Day traders here.
Oh, here comes the most irritating, annoying Transformer on Earth.
Traderbot's a new robot we invented. He was called Barterbot for a while.
I remember working in the desert in Morocco, and you'd see these trucks that would go over the mountains, and they would be carrying all kinds of stuff. And I thought, well, what would happen if we had someone like Steve Buscemi be this guy?
Easy, what? Oh, God. You always resort to violence.
And Cade's always telling him to get the hell out of here, I don't want your stuff. But Barterbot has information that is vital to the movie.
He's just like a street peddler. All the objects are mounted on kind of his backpack and hanging on his clothing and hanging from everywhere. So every time he tries to grab things, axles fall off and big heavy objects, and, you know, don't stand near him because you could get hurt.
We had to find objects and fabricate objects that went with it. And I also thought it would be funny because he's picked up stuff from different universes. So I thought it would be interesting to add some things that we used on the previous Transformers in Hong Kong.
You don't really know a whole lot about him, but he's an interesting character.
All right, I'm gonna go slather myself in oil.
Megatron is the main villain of the Decepticons, and he's reborn. He's different actually in every movie. So in this one, we had a new design, so we had to rebuild him from the ground up, essentially. We didn't look back at anything that we did before.
I drew up the initial Megatron, which is a different kind of vehicle, incredibly fast. And all of our jets and then a lot of the space-type vehicles are based on swords and daggers. So they all kind of look like that kind of shape. And that's kind of what we're going for in this. We wanted to broaden the world a bit with these characters. Megatron in this one is no longer a vehicle, he's a jet spacecraft.
Megatron, he got cooler shapes and he got a pretty cool war mask. And he has a little bit of an iridescent quality to him.
He's a fan favorite, but he's also our favorite. I mean, he's a great villain. This is sort of the closing of a chapter and the beginning of new chapters to come.
My army will stop them.
I read some of the fan blogs, and there was a blog that had everybody vote on who's the character you'd love to see come back. And it was Barricade. And I went to Michael and I said, Michael, we gotta bring Barricade back.
We went and got the appropriate car and the appropriate vehicle and made Barricade for the fans for this one.
Today driving Barricade, one of the characters. Really fun, really fast car. A lot of exciting stuff you get to do in this thing. Sliding corners, chasing people, turning the lights on, not getting arrested for it. It's a good time.
We redesigned the car with ILM, and he's now back in, and he's a big player in the movie.
Michael wanted to go with dual eyes on Barricade. He's a police car type robot, and so we went with a blue and a red eye and reconfigured his shape and his silhouette and beefed him up a lot.
You need a good bad guy. He's a good bad guy.
And we have fun with, he has to punish and enslave, which we've changed to keep calm and hail Megatron.
Oh, yeah, Decepticons is in the street.
I showed Michael Confederate motorcycles. And I think Confederate makes one of the most interesting hand-tooled motorcycles you can find. And Michael looked at it and got on the bike, tried it. It's a gorgeous piece of steel. And they made a couple of them for us. And that is a character called Mohawk.
What up, fellas?
Michael, at some point, stumbled upon an illustrated book about assassins. And all of the illustrations in this book feature guys who have spray paint tattoos on them and arrows stuck in their arms. So Michael thought that this group of Decepticons who've been bored and doing bad things would start to decorate themselves.
The braces were a little bit of a challenge in terms of getting facial expressions right, because we had to make sure that it didn't really affect his performances when he opened his mouth and he tried to smile or talk. So we had to do a few rounds on making the braces just a little bit different.
Oh, this ain't right.
You know, that's how you get to the big leagues.
When you go back into the Transformers mythology, in the 6 billion years ago, the Quintessa was one of the original apostles of Transformers.
I've been waiting for you, Optimus. Come meet your maker.
Michael's always looking for some big theme or set piece to have in the movie.
What have you done to my home?
So he had those ideas about Cybertron.
In this movie, you will actually set foot on Cybertron. You will get a better understanding of the history of the Transformers as it began on that planet. So Cybertron becomes a character unto itself.
Michael's films are all about getting bigger and bigger, and this one is no different. We've gone planetary this time.
You dare to strike your god?
It's always a challenge to find a new villain.
You destroyed your world, you fool.
We always go back to the original history, and one of the areas that's always been interesting to us is the Quintessan race.
I made you. You are mine to command.
Quintessa is the one pulling the strings.
The staff is the only way to bring life back to Cybertron. You are going to find it for me.
We needed a figure that had power over everything that's going on in this movie. And she has power over Cybertron, she has power over Megatron, and Optimus Prime. So she was written as this beautiful spirit, and then we hired Gemma Chan, who plays her.
I am Quintessa, the prime of life.
Quintessa is a character that floats and has a mechanical frame sort of underneath her skin. That's a lot to do with ILM.
From a character design standpoint, it's still grounded in sort of the rules of Transformers. Even if she's magical, and even if she's fluid, and even if she's humanoid, we're still gonna make her out of metal.
If it's made of metal, that means it can't be flexible like a single sheet of cloth, for instance. If it's lips that have to animate, it has to be segments of metal that can move, and you believe that they move, and they pivot, and they swivel.
So she's fabricated out of hundreds of thousands of little metal slices that can close down into a solid form. But as soon as she moves, they all open up and they flow as if they're underwater.
Earth will die, and your world will be reborn.
When we were working with the modeling department, defining her face and her facial shapes, we focused on a lot of expressions that we thought she would be doing, which is basically anger.
Do you seek redemption, Prime?
My maker. I do.
Object confirmed as exoplanet Cybertron.
The planet seems to be acting deliberately.
There's two moons! There's two moons!
The world is ended.
Cybertron, for me, I already had a guidepost because 3 had gone there, so a 2.
In the previous movie, Cybertron was built mostly from hexagonal pieces. This one, because of where we would need to go with our actors, we had to have some sort of soil or dirt surface that we haven't seen in the previous film.
These metal hexagons give the surface its Transformer characteristic. And then on top of that, there's all these little debris and little plaque flakes, whatever you want to call it, that's holding all this stuff together.
We ended up sending Scott Farrar and Ryan Wiedeker to Iceland to shoot a lot of the plates and plan out a lot of the actual surface of Cybertron, because we were looking for a really alien environment. And we used a lot of the black sands and the really saturated green mountains of Iceland to create sort of an otherworldly effect. We melded that with footage shot in Wales.
We shot the battle area with all the hexes and the close-ups of the actors in Wales, which then we surrounded with the cathedral and different things, like it looks like you're on this hero chunk, which is represented by Wales and Iceland, and then all our animated stuff that goes on beyond that.
The third act was definitely our biggest challenge. There's the big set piece of the crashing ospreys, our heroes ending up on a chunk of Cybertron 20,000 feet in the air.
One thing with working with Michael is we always try and shoot something that's real in the scene. We try and not completely create a shot 100% computer graphics. Wherever possible, we try and have real photography to lace in with all our animated pieces, so it has that feeling of reality.
We had a pretty elaborate practical effects team out there as well for explosions, and a pretty substantial crew out there, as well as the background extras kind of running along the fields.
When we drove onto the quarry, I had no idea what they'd actually been building there for several weeks was Cybertron. It was an incredible set. When we went to Wales, we sort of saw the bit wider scope of what was really happening. We're on Cybertron, and it is an all-out war.
We're not giving up on Prime, okay?
The operation is over. We stay, we're dead.
The actual material on the ground wasn't quite the right color. It was a dark gray, needed to be black, so we sprayed it to sort of darken the floor down and the rocks. And then huge explosions and the army coming through.
It's quite a thrill. It's a real ride.
You target 3 o'clock high!
They were somewhat surrounded by cliffs all around. So no matter where you aimed the camera, you'd have a cliff face.
We had to kind of figure out, the Wales plates, how does it fit with the Iceland plates and how it cuts together, and just make sure all of it makes sense. Because Iceland was shot ground level, but in the film, it's 36,000 feet in the air. So how do we make that look believable?
So the decision was, if we need to see something like a mountain that looks like something you'd see from the Iceland shots, we can add that. And we have shots that reveal how high you are. So the puzzle pieces started to fit together in a pretty cool way.
Go! 3, 2, well, I know this is gonna suck, but let's try it anyway. Here we go.
They won.
First day of craziness.
Just people running, jumping off buildings. So cool. And this is Monday morning, too.
Good morning. What was that? Fun.
Oh my goodness, Transformers, crazy.
You want to put the pedal to the metal, guys?
I'm a newcomer. Is there anything I should know?
It was wild. It was crazy. Michael Bay, always a boom.
Actually, thank you. Your silence means everything.
No challenge whatsoever. Rolling. Oh, that wasn't rolling. 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, that looked violent. Oh, let's go again.
Going that way?
Yeah, mother. Sit the down. You're gonna do it way before.
Yeah, but you're gonna go and get my back. If you had any balls, you run in front of us backwards to get it face to
I'm doing that too. I'm gonna be doing that too.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Lunchtime was exactly 2 hours ago.
It's madness.
Okay, so today we didn't break for lunch, but we had dust. We had a fire. We had some smoke. It's all good stuff.
How was it?
Dusty.
That's cool. What's going on? Chilling, Transformers 5. Yep. Behind the scenes. BTS.
Got all the lingo down.
I got it, man. I've been in this game for about 20 years.
This is called Pro Time now, all right?
Working with Michael Bay is awesome. He's my favorite director. Yeah.
Such a pain in the ass, this kid. I will fire you so fast. And I don't care that you guys are kids. I'm just as tough on you as I am with other action guys. Go!
I'm gonna miss the explosion.
Then Michael Bay yelling.
What are you doing? Get the out of here. I don't want anyone right here. Guys, go away.
Michael, if only you would yell at these people sometime.
Joey, get back over here. Let's go. Joey, right over here. Get over here. Yeah, what are you guys doing? Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Yell at them. On the ground, Joey. Yeah. Nobody else. You gotta shake. You gotta shake. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Joey, get the away! Casey! Casey, let's go! Get the up!
Nothing the medication won't take care of. Really.
What are you gonna show me, Crane or what? Show me where you just play anything, dude. When I was his age, I would be sprinting. But I never sit in my chair. Thank you for doing that. Now go take it back to the truck. You're getting there, You're already in 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes. It's expensive time on a movie. That's a double rainbow right there. Look at that. Dude, I bring the rainbow. I paid for that extra today. You do one. Go. Go. Done. Play something, Dave.
We're working on the third. I crashed for a second. Now I'm back up. Hold on.
Do I give a shit if you crashed?
I'll kick it.
I hear you're not just a mom today, you're working in the movie?
It's my new career. My grandkids are very excited, so I'm sort of doing it for them.
Everybody heads up. Background's supposed to be over here. Background's, come on. Background is over there. Go stay with the background. Don't sit by my chair. Go to the background.
I don't have to answer to you. You have to answer to me.
So this is the camera, guys. The red here. The beige. Nice. Look at that. So basically, you don't need a crew for this camera, right?
What is around the street? The McLaren's running up the street, and it's being followed. And yeah, off. You can't use any of this footage.
Get that camera out of my face. All right, guys, Jax, take a hike. Why's that on? They're stuck up there, so they're going for a ride. How does that feel, guys?
Really weird!
Right, Laura, you are tough, right?
It's really scary.
I'm not kidding. I'm not joking around. She's tough.
Just hold on, both hands. You gotta try. Don't film me!
Even though she's an English lass.
Lorraine!
No, you look at her. She's like an English lass.
I didn't realize I needed to put my vagina in my contract. That was pretty cool. It was so weird, but cool. Oh no, don't use that.
Action!
Every shot's a great shot.
You look ridiculous. Give me a little shoulder now.
Are you kidding?
No, give me a little shoulder. Did it look bad? No, it doesn't. Give me a little shoulder. Give me a little shoulder.
Fingers in every pie.
Give me some ha! Ha! All right. Go! Chia!
Fingers in every pie.
Notice how he keeps kissing her on a rehearsal?
No complaints from this old dear.
Sir Anthony, this is his last shot.
Thank you, this great genius, crazy director.
Everybody go this way, okay? There's a flaming ball here.
It really is crazy.
Get that crane up, let's go!
Let's go it now!
All right, boys and girls, way to bring it home, day and night. That's a wrap, baby.
Hey guys, I want to thank you. We would not have done this without you guys. You guys were phenomenal. Great shot, guys. Great shot.